Welcome to Tim and Jake Live. Jake, how you feeling today, dude?
Doing well. The weather outside is legit. It rains, I don't know,
Outside is
3 times every 2 years, so it's awesome.
does.
Just take
Like,
it in.
The smell of the desert in my nostrils, so good. So yesterday I talked about a story about run-ins with the
can't wait to
law.
hear this.
So I don't think I've ever told you the entirety of this. So I'm going to tell the 1-minute version. I could tell it in 10. I'm going to tell it.
Or show me here.
I'm not going to show you.
Okay, great.
So I was going to a football camp, Arkansas, driving back through Oklahoma, and my buddy said, his name is Ty. I don't know if Ty's ever going to listen, but Ty had this epiphany, like it would be hilarious. I saw it on a show once, I think. It would be hilarious to moon every single car that went by.
No,
And at first it's like weird, and then you see all these various reactions, like a wife driving and she hits her husband, and they're like, ah, and they think it's hilarious. Well, not everybody thought it was hilarious, and this one car starts just like tailing us really fast. Now, my cousin's uncle, he's a big guy. He's the one that drove us on this whole trip, right? And so they're tail, and we look back, whatever. But they stay on us. I'm not even joking. For over 100 miles through the state of Oklahoma.
100 miles.
100 miles. And so we get into Tulsa.
What were you thinking the whole time?
Well, Ty kept mooning people. That's just what he did. So he keeps mooning people as they're going by. And I'm not making any of this up. My wife and others can verify this. A car goes by, and they flash guns at us. And we're like, oh, get down. And so we hit the floor. Wow. We miss our exit to continue on to Colorado. And so we have to turn around, so you get off at this one little stop area, an off-ramp. And then, boom, on the side of the car, the dude that had been tailing us said, I'm a cop. Get out the car. And so he reaches in to try and grab the keys. And my friend Ty, who'd been mooning everybody, a strong kid, he breaks the dude's hand. And so it goes green, the cop's hand, but he's not in a cop car. He's like not dressed like a cop or anything. So he goes rolling out the side as we go driving away. We get back on the interstate, and then before you know it, we've driven like a half mile. Coming at us in Tulsa, Oklahoma, are about 4 cop cars who jump the median and come at us. And the uncle, he's like, we gotta stop. He gets out of the car, and they're like, hey, all this kind of stuff. You guys stay in the car. And he's like, this is bull. And like, And they handcuff him and they throw him in the car. And there's like an hour-and-a-half conversation in this median in Tulsa as we're sitting in the, What's that?
How old are you?
17, 16. And when the dude reached in the car, this is one of the funniest parts of the whole story, is I guess I'm in the back, and I'm like, we can work it out, sir. We can just calm down.
Conflict resolution.
Let's just talk it out. So long story short, that was a little longer than, anyway, the guy that tried to reach in isn't a cop after all. He's a park ranger. He's a national park ranger.
He's taking his job serious.
And it went to court. He never showed up. So kids, don't moon on a
There was
on a
a
trip
season,
through
I think,
Oklahoma.
in the 90s, or maybe just because we were in like junior high, where there was a thing. It was like a mooning thing. Can you imagine if that would have happened with social media and with iPhone 12s? Your butt would be in their butt. Your friend's butt. Okay, you never did. Exactly. It would be all over the internet.
Yeah. So your story, I was there for yours. Tell us your run-in with the law.
I have many stories.
Okay, well, give us one, because I think you shared the one that I was
Man, there was a bullet time. I did have a junior high time where, a friend like threw a switchblade out as we were driving, and the guy also was a security cop or whatnot. He pulled over. We could have went to jail. I was in like 9th, 10th grade. The one I want to tell though real quick is like 50th birthday party. It's at our house. We're hosting it.
Your 50th?
No, someone else's. I'm not that old yet. I am bald, but hey. And we're at this party. It's at my house. It's 9:45 at night. I don't know the law. We have a DJ outside. And so I walk out to the front yard, and yes, I've had one beer. And I'm looking out, and I'm just like, is that a cop? And the cop just rolls up. And I'm feeling good about this situation. I'm like, I know a cop in Gilbert. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, he rolled his window down. I was like, hey, do you know X and so-and-so? Yeah. And he's like, no. You better have invited your neighbors, because a neighbor has called and said that it's really loud. And if I go in their decibel meter, blah, 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 I'll give you 10 minutes to turn that down. The story gets better because I go back to the party in my backyard, and the various people are like, turn up the music. And I'm like,
no, we gotta
turn it down.
We gotta turn it down.
Shut that party down. We went into some slow dancing then at that point, but it's a great 50th. So love the law.
Yeah.
Love the law. Yeah, I don't know how you reacted yesterday to that sermon about the Sabbath, and the Sabbath's a gift. It's made for man, not man for the Sabbath. What a gift that we do have the law. And I love David's perspective. He says here in Psalm 1, blessed are you who do not walk in the step of the wicked or the way of sinners or keep company with the mockers, the jeerers. Yeah. But you delight in the law of the Lord. You meditate on the law day and night. You're actually going to be like a tree planted by streams of water. You're going to yield fruit in season and out of season. And that Jesus had fulfilled the law for us. Right. It's like a small little pebble, not this heavy brick that we're carrying around. Yeah. It's just like very light and easy because he's fulfilled it, and it's for your good. It's to live happy, healthy, and holy lives.
Yeah, take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I'm gentle and lowly in heart. And the Pharisees put these heavy burdens, that Jesus lifted through his perfect life, death, and resurrection. And so we can have, even as we share stories about run-ins with the law, we can have a little bit of lightness and levity to it.
Yeah, and I would say, anytime with the civil law, the curbs out there, that it's supposed to curb us, back to the truth. Every time and this is like every couple years, right? Every time I have a run-in with the law as far as speeding or, something on the streets, it does happen. It's like, wow, you could be mad for a while, but then you're like, that was for my benefit and for the benefit of others, If you're picking up and you're like, man, Gilbert is... what is the speed limit? 45. You start going 50, 60 out there. It's like you need to curb that back for the safety of you and other people. And God has given us that law. We love the law.
Exactly. Thank you so much for joining us. So many of you online. We want to have a conversation now about a new dashboard that our team is looking at. Now, before we get to the dashboard, it's about life transformation. It's about people worshiping, yes, but being in small groups and then serving. But we also care about where you are on your spiritual journey, and worship is a catalyst, whether you're in space or online. Wanted to show you with these graphs the evolution of things. So can we cut, Thomas, to this screen right here? Or you're showing it. Okay, here it is. So if we look to the upper left, you see where we were in January of 2020, pre-pandemic. And then you move for our 5.5 months or so solely online. And you can see that online audience grew close to 2,000. And then we're now back on campus for the last 4 months or so, 5 months. And the biggest thing that we want you to see is 2/3 of our worshiping community is with us online. And this is not just, a view like you see on Facebook. This is people who are with us, Todd, 20 minutes or more, right? And each view counts for what, Todd? Are we assuming 1.5 or 2? So each view is 2. That's how we get to that about 1,400 number who are with us every single Sunday. So some observations from you as you look at this, Jake?
Yeah, as I look right here, we had to go to online for these months for the safety and well-being of others, and then we kept that. And as you look down here, think about all these, 2020 and 2021, the yellow represents online. Think about all the people we weren't reaching, and now we are, because of this holy disruption. And so, that is exponential growth of people that are being reached in that category too. A lot of people like yourself, maybe are at home and it's not safe to come back, or you're at home because you like that environment. But some of that is people that hadn't gone to church in a long time.
Yep.
And now they're like, wow, this is bringing me back to focus on my relationship with God. Now, when you look at these, you might be thinking, wow, these people might just be online forever, right? Well, we're going to talk now about the simple discipleship process, which is maybe a fancy word to say, what is it that I need to do here? Right. What is it that I should be invited into at a campus or online as well? Because every online worship service, and even right now, we're always going to give you a clear next step toward that discipleship process.
So your sweet spot is a combination of 3 different things. It's worship. Worship is a catalyst for spiritual growth. Word and sacrament are necessary for you. The second concentric circle in that sweet spot is a small group. And we're trying really, really hard right now to not only start but sustain many of our small groups, especially make it super user-friendly, either on the app or online. Talk a little bit about that, Jake.
Yeah, we are doing some research and investigating and trying, and we're going to build this thing and measure it and learn from it so that anyone that wants to start a small group will have basically on the internet, on their smartphone, all the tools they need to go through that process. To even start the relationship, if you have two friends and you want to start a small group, you're going to be able to do that right from your phone. Now, we're going to be there in person to assist you as best as we can and as you need, but it's going to be right there on the phone, a process to give you the training videos, to tell you should watch these 2 videos first. Right. It's going to norm your small group. We had someone in East Mesa yesterday that's like, I'll start a small group. This is so important, so awesome. It's the first group that's being started in the community right there. And so you can pray for Lauren and Dwight. And I said, you should watch these 8 videos that we give you. And she's like, 8? What? Whoa. But at least the first 2 will really norm your group and really set a precedence for what are we doing here?
And all it takes is 2 friends.
2 friends.
Do you have 2 friends? Yes, you do. And we will then walk alongside you every single step of the way. Rather than matching you, we would love to invite you to start. And you're like, I don't have leadership skills. That is okay. Can you open your home, serve a snack, press play? Be hospitable. Yeah. Love your neighbor, like Jesus has called you to do.
Maybe you're like, you know what? I do have a couple friends, but at this time, I just want to join a group on our website, on the app, and then this simple process. You can go there and you can pick a group that's open for yourself.
The third concentric circle is serve. Now, that's one of the biggest struggles through the pandemic, I think, has been people's openness to serve. And I know people have been creative online, especially trying to reach out and care. But are you giving your life away? We've got a number of different partner ministries that we would love to bring you alongside. And so serve. So worship, be in a small group, and serve.
Yeah, if you haven't checked out on the website, christgreenfield.church, on the very top, it'll say partners. And partners lays out for you not only how you can partner on Sunday morning, but specifically in the community. So it'll talk about World Vision, Choices Pregnancy Center, La Mesa, Family Promise. Family Promise is coming the 3rd week in February.
Yeah, that'd be an amazing way to serve.
You're going to hear a lot more from us about ways you can serve. Also be checking on your Facebook group for your campus, East Mesa or Gilbert, and we're going to continue to give you different ways to serve on there.
We want to see people grow. We want to see you grow passionately. We want to see your biblical knowledge, your worldview, your biblical worldview grow. And so what does that look like for us? This is another kind of metric or a tracker for every single baptized member. We want to see you move from serving, leading, coaching, and some of you even becoming directors. Many of you have been a part of our serve team training. About 40 of you are at our lead team training, which will be rounding back here very, very soon. We've got an exciting thing happening right now. About 30 of our members are in our first year class of Catalyst. Vicar Thomas Gustafson has done a great job putting that together. Catalyst is a combination of theological, biblical worldview, understanding the master narrative, and then executing that master narrative. So we were reading a number of theological and kind of secular books, all centered in the story of Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, some of you might be hearing this and you're like, what did he just say? Serve team, lead team, Catalyst. I don't even barely know my name this morning. If you're kind of confused right now, you should send us an email, honestly, or reply back to this. You can Facebook message us privately. Like, where am I at on that journey? Or you've heard these terms before. Think, you know what? I'm a leader. Okay. Would you ask your leader above you, like whoever you think that might be? We'll get clear on that. What's my next step? Yeah. We want to help mentor you along the way. And along the way, also have certain outcomes and challenges that you can be working on and excelling to. This isn't just some kind of corporate talk, but it is the way of Jesus, where he was working on certain things with Peter. He's like, I need to give him this kind of test to work on to see if he could handle it, because I'm going to have Peter help build the church. Okay. Same with Andrew, James, John, and the whole 12.
Yeah. So if you're wondering what is that rhythm, one of the big reasons we're here in this studio right now is so at the Gilbert campus, we could open up the Journey Center, start to have Starting Point, which the next one will be on February 7th. Starting Point is just that, Starting Point. You'll hear the mission and vision of the congregation, as well as receive a meal. The next week is our small group orientation. Isn't that right, guys?
Yep.
Small group is the second week. Third week is serve team training. So that is your starting point. If you've never been a part of serving at Christ Greenfield, either the East Mesa or the Gilbert campus, come to serve team. And then the fourth week will be kind of a rotation of different ministries. So every single month will be that rhythm: starting point, small groups, and serve team training.
And if you are on a campus or online, if you're on a campus, any Sunday, go up to the tent that you see on both of the campuses and say, hey, I'm willing to take a next step. That's why we really label those next step tents. This is your next step with Jesus. If you're online, just go ahead and reply back to any wherever you're watching. And we're going to have a host here soon enough on Valentine's Day even. That's going to be a live host that will continue to help plug you into next steps.
So let's talk February 14th. This is an amazing opportunity. 3 p.m. if you have been worshiping just online and you're here in the East Valley at the Gilbert campus, and we'll be bringing both our East Mesa and our Gilbert team together for an outdoor worship extravaganza. We have a guest preacher who's going to be at the Gilbert campus, and then preaching at the 3 p.m. outdoor service that day, Pastor Zach Zender from the Cross in Florida and outside Orlando. Excited to have Zach. He's a good friend of ours, and you will be blessed. Also on February 14th, we will be starting our live stream services. Will look a little bit different for the contemporary service. We'll still have the traditional at 7:30, but then we're going to pre-record a number of the songs, and the message is going to get shorter, but then there will be a live host. It could be Vicar Thomas or a number of our other vicars within the ministry, a live host who is set to engage with you and pray specifically for you. There will be a lot of interaction. So mark your calendar, February 14th, a big pivot, and that's one of the biggest reasons why we're here in this studio.
That's awesome. I mean, I wasn't able to be there, but 300 and something people, 350 people on Christmas Eve for that service. Talked to someone yesterday and said, man, they were like, I really need to get to that service. And so be there. When we were thinking this past week about the generation that is kind of 0 to 10, 1-year-old to 10, going through a global pandemic. If you don't know, the current generation, as they title it, Gen Z, is kind of your 10-year-olds to your early 20-year-olds. And they're shaped by various sayings. They grow up with a cell phone in their pocket. They're living in such a media-saturated world. Like, let's talk about, maybe we could call it, there's someone out here that called it, from Bank of America Research, Generation C for Generation COVID. Yeah. And just to think about how that's going to define those kids that are 0 to 12.
Yeah, so we're going to bring, this is from Church and Culture, a blog that we read consistently, 4 ways that this culture, though they will not remember this year, will forever be shaped. The number one is Gen C will be the only generation to know problem solving through fiscal stimulus and free government money. This could lay a foundation for embracing universal health care and universal basic income. We're not making a statement about that. We're just saying it is what it is. Yep.
Yeah, Gen C will be, number 2, set a new precedence for how they physically interact. I mean, think about the normal signs of intimacy. Just 9 months ago, it was very kosher, very expected that you would shake a hand when you meet someone. But now I wonder what's going to happen.
I mean,
he might not even.
I'm going to have to teach my son how to give a bro hug. You know what I'm saying? Like those were natural things that I learned as I grew up,
Chest bumps.
Yeah, here we go.
Or
Yeah.
Side hug it. I love to side hug it, right?
Yeah, number 3, Gen Z won't be able to live without tech in every aspect of their lives, from online virtual tutors for personalized schooling to food delivery services that personalize food requirements. So tech is here, obviously, to stay, and they will never have known anything outside of the Zoom world we live in right now.
And some kids will have only known church online.
Yeah.
There could be some young disciples that are seeing Jesus and his word and hearing the word and praising God for the very first time on tech. So not a bad thing, but also want to move into life on life in the space community. Yeah. Number 4, unlike Gen Z, Gen C won't remember the pandemic, though it will be a dividing line between Gen Z and Gen C. They will have to read about it in history books. They're going to be living in a post-pandemic world, and that is going to be really shaping their past. So what do we really do about this? Any pointers for families?
Yeah, I think the 3 things that I'm kind of taking away is, 1, relationship really matters. So as you're discipling the next generation, like lead them into deep relationship and care and trust and kind of building that grit and resilience within them. We do hard things. Jesus is faithful, and he's got a relationship with you, and now he's mobilizing you to have a relationship with others. So relationships are a big deal.
Yeah, the second one I would say is truth matters. Truth matters. There's so much on social media, and it's not just one opinion in a newspaper anymore. There's thousands of them. This same time we walked through a global pandemic in America, we walked through an election. And so the truth of Jesus and the Bible and God's word matters more than any of that. But it's the lens in which we look to see, well, what is truth out there? And you just can't take, it's crazy, we live in a world where you just can't take anyone's opinion and say that's actually truth. But you can't be jaded by everyone's opinion. There is truth out there, but you just want to dig a little deeper to make sure it's the actual truth.
Yeah, the truth is extranos, it's outside of us, which frankly it is comforting. I don't have to find it within myself or even in relationship with another created being. I find it in the Creator who made me in his image and has great plans for me. Any number of those stresses that we've walked through in the last year would cause great angst, but it's a combination of a number of them, like you and we've mentioned over and over again, that may be leading kids whose brains are still being formed to look at the world and say, you know what, the world is a scary place. And maybe mom and dad or grandma and grandpa have reinforced, you've got to take care of yourself. You may stay safe, my friends, you know? And there's no place in the biblical narrative where Jesus comes and he says, hey, the number one goal in life is to stay safe. Make sure you preserve your life. Now he says, die, and then you will truly live. Give your life away. Pick up your cross. Come and follow me to the cross, and then to the hope beyond the grave. It's just, I'm sorry, Jake, but how does a human being not conceptualize in the midst of all of the pain and suffering of this life, and the numerous members right now that have COVID? We're praying and we love you all, but how? It's a wake-up call right now. You will die. Yeah? I mean, it doesn't matter. It could be tomorrow. It could be, but while I got breath in my lungs, while I'm living, I will press forward. I will love. I will learn. You know, I will be bold to lead with the gifts God's given to me, because days are too short to be riddled with fear and live with this heart that says, I got to protect me and mine. Yeah.
Yeah, I think about the Mark Plan. Hopefully you're following along on the app for the daily Mark Plan, about a 2-minute devotion. But 2 Sundays ago, looking at the man that's lowered on the stretcher to meet Jesus and be healed. And this past week in the temple, a guy with a shriveled hand getting healed. Those were amazing stories. These people that were sick, then healed. But you notice on each one of them, Jesus always points out their faith. We're going to see that with the woman that's bleeding for 12 years too. First, he doesn't point out the healing. He says, your sins are forgiven.
Yeah.
You're made
it's the greatest
whole. So they're still going to die. Even Lazarus was raised from the dead, and then he died again. Oh wow. Death is inevitable because of sin, but the greater healing is to say, hey, your sins are forgiven. And he could do that because he had that authority from his Father.
So if your kids are anxious, or maybe you're anxious, and you're wondering, how do I frame up a life of adventure for my kids or grandkids, I want to offer this quote from Alex Cravens: let it marinate in your spirit and give you great courage. Don't feel sorry for or fear for your kids, because the world they are going to grow up in is not what it used to be. God created them and called them for the exact moment in time that they're in. Their life wasn't a coincidence or an accident. Raise them up to know the power that they walk in as children of God. Train them up in the authority of his word. Teach them to walk in faith, knowing that God is in control. Empower them to know that they can, empowered by the Spirit, change the world. Don't teach them to be, here it is, don't teach them to be fearful and disheartened by the state of the world, but hopeful that they can do something about it. Every person in all of history has been placed in the time that they were in because of God's sovereign plan. He knew Daniel could handle the lion's den. He knew David could handle Goliath. He knew Esther could handle Haman. He knew Peter could handle persecution. He knows that your child can handle whatever challenge they face in their life. He created them specifically for it. So don't be scared for your children, but be honored that God chose you to parent the generation that is facing the biggest challenges of our lifetime. Rise up to the challenge. Jesus is with you. Greater is he that lives within you than he is within the world. Have great courage. Offer encouragement and courage to other people. The Lord is good all the time.
Amen. Have a great week. Mission is our priority. Get out there as you feel led to love your neighbor well, love those close to you. Because remember, God says love God and love your neighbor. It's as simple as that, but it's also as hard as that. And the Holy Spirit empowers you to do so, because a lot of people are going to come to faith in the next couple of years because Christians are raised up and rise up to live out the Great Commission. Tim and Jake Live, it's